In this video, I'll break down the difference between a Hollywood star and a journeyman actor. And the answer is not what you think. It took me 20 plus years to get clarity on it. It's tempting to just say it's talent, skill, or even luck. There's something else at play, and I'll give you a hint. It's a 4-letter word. And once you understand it, you'll start to see your own career in a completely different light, and what you can start doing today to close that gap. Now, I've worked alongside Emmy winners, Tony winners, Oscar winners, even a few Razzie winners, and I've held my own right beside them. So what I'm going to talk about isn't theory. It's what I've seen on set firsthand working with some of the best. But I'll be honest, it wasn't until last week that all of this came into perspective for me, and I'll share that insight too. Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Cornwell with Get Taped, which I co-own with my amazingly talented, beautiful wife and best friend, Brooke. So let's start with the biggest misconception, that celebrities are somehow more something. They're definitely more extra on occasions. Are we still saying extra? I'm being told we're not. But if you're honest with yourself, when faced with the prospect of sharing the screen with insert famous actor, you start to build expectations in your head that start to make you nervous. But why? Why is there this perceived gap between you and them? Is it real? Is it imagined? Maybe you think, well, they're more talented than me, or they have more skill. Or is it just the fame? Well, let's talk about fame. I mean, heck, they might just be famous simply due to luck. Ever heard of nepotism? A lot of stars are born into Hollywood royalty or whatever. Good for them. You can't change your family. But I understand that super famous people carry this aura about them that makes us nervous when we're in their presence. And that's a slightly different phenomenon than what I'm focusing on in this video. So to make my case, let's focus on actors who are at the top of the call sheet, the number 1, the number 2, but are not super famous. Even some of those actors who aren't super famous but are at the top of their game still benefited from some sort of stroke of luck. Which takes me to an old adage that goes like this: who you know will get you there, what you know will keep you there. So that luck only gets them in the door. If they don't have the talent and skill to back it up, well, then they won't last very long. And there are a lot of celebrity examples that fit that description that we won't go through in this video. So let's talk about talent and skill. Some actors seem inherently talented in an unfair way. But talent is only mildly helpful if it isn't honed and shaped. And that's what I mean by skill. So you might be born with talent. I might be born with talent, but there are countless people in history that were born with talent that you've never heard of because they didn't bother to develop the skills they needed to succeed. Okay, so does that mean training is the punchline to this video? That seems to be where I'm heading. Ooh, but if you remember, I said it was a 4-letter word, and well, training has more than 4 letters. Training is a huge factor, though. Please hear me on that. Please train. Just please. But I'll be honest, there are so many actors that make it to number 1 on the call sheet who aren't trained. Oscar winners who couldn't hit a mark if their life depended on it. In short, I've been unimpressed with those number 1s on the call sheet and those celebrity actors more often than I've been left in awe of the experience. So contrary to what most people think, they're not that good. I mean, some of them are, but that's the minority. So that means that I can't even say that training is the reason for this gap between you and that Hollywood star. Okay, so here's the 4-letter word. Reps. As in repetitions. My friend and fellow actor Jason Warner Smith talked about this in an Instagram post back in March of this year, 2025. And while it did resonate with me then, I kind of felt helpless after thinking about it, honestly. I mean, for how much the industry has slowed down here in the United States in 2025, not just Atlanta, everywhere around the country, I've actually had a pretty good year by my standards. As of the end of the 3rd quarter of 2025, I've had 11 days on big professional sets. That's good for where I am in my career. But on the last project I was on, which was a movie, the 2 leads will work over 30 days on that project alone. I mean, I can't compete with that, right? It would take me 3 years to get that many days on set. and they get it all in one project. And those reps are so incredibly invaluable to the actor. I mean, I might be more athletic than you, but if you've been tap dancing every day for a year and I start tomorrow and try to show you up just because I'm more athletic, I'm going to make a fool of myself. You'll look like Fred Astaire and I'll look and feel like Krusty the Clown. Not sure where I was going with that analogy. But essentially, we could analyze the origin of a bunch of famous actors and look at their journeys from obscurity to fame, but it's kind of irrelevant for the point I'm trying to make. My point is that once they get established, and especially if it's on television, they are getting so many reps on a yearly basis compared to me, compared to you. And that gives them that confidence and ownership on the set that we could only dream of having, right? Well, Matt, you did tease that you had a revelation last week, so let me share that now. On this most recent project that was a movie, I found myself amongst some pretty darn famous people. And normally that would start to increase the nerves, especially as I were to walk onto set to do my scene. And yet it was the most relaxed that I've felt on a set that I can even recall. Now, some of that was the crew and the environment, but honestly, it was something new. And when I went to actually do my scene with the couple lines that I had, there weren't the usual nerves with that experience either. What changed? Well, spoiler alert, Brooke and I have been doing sketch comedy this year. Have you checked out the Brooke and Matt show yet? And while what we're doing in the Brooke and Matt show is short sketches, when you start to add it up, we're doing 20 minutes of content every month. Now, in 2 days after this video is released, on October 1st, we release our 4th episode. So that means that in aggregate, we'll have put out over 80 minutes of edited content in the last 4 months. And while that doesn't equate to weeks on set, it's a lot more reps than I've gotten in a long time. Add to that the experience of wearing the hats of cinematographer, director, writer, producer, set designer, sound mixer, and don't forget editor. The end result is a boot camp of sorts. And the biggest benefit of producing the Brooke and Matt show is that by getting so many reps, I become less precious about each of those reps. That was the huge revelation. Think about it. If you're a minor league baseball player who gets called up to the majors and you're given one at-bat to prove yourself before you get sent back down to the minors, there's going to be so much pressure on that at-bat. Every pitch that comes through, you're going to be sweating over whether or not you should swing or let the ball go by. And compared to the starter on that same team who is going to get 3 at-bats at least per game over 150 games, they're going to get 400 to 500, maybe even more at-bats in a single season. So you could see how a single at-bat feels less precious. It doesn't mean you care less about each rep or that you're putting less effort into each rep. You're just not obsessing over each rep as the end-all be-all that is going to launch you into stardom. Because if you strike out, there's another at-bat right around the corner. So as actors, we need reps. We need them to build our confidence so that we understand not just the craft that we've been honing over years of training, because you have been training, but then to start to put that into practice on a practical set and to work out the kinks and to shake off that rust that can build over time when you don't have reps. We need that confidence that comes with all of those repetitions so that we can deliver on set. Great, Matt, but if I'm not getting booked, or heck, I'm not even getting auditions, how am I supposed to get those reps? I do feel you, because I've faced that same catch-22 so many times in the 20 plus years I've been doing this. But now that we're talking about this lack of repetition as the reason for that gap between you and those celebrities, I'm hoping that it starts to get the wheels turning and you start thinking of this problem in a new way. First of all, you need the training. There's just no way around it. And please hear me on that. There's still so many actors that just think that they can skip the training because they're getting auditions already, because they already have an agent. And it just doesn't work that way. Because depending on the acting class, you're getting reps every week that you show up to class. Even if you're not necessarily using a camera in that class every week, there are still skills that you're developing, that you're honing, so that when you do step into that high pressure environment of a set, you feel more confident. So don't discount that ongoing training. It is so essential to your confidence as an actor. And because I love analogies, I could put tap shoes on and just start making noise, thinking that those reps somehow are making a difference. But if I don't take the time to learn from someone who will teach me the basics, then I'm just developing bad habits. So my recommendation is to combine your training that you're either doing currently or that you're thinking about doing with a renewed ambition to get yourself on set. Any set. Student films, 48-hour films, indie films, vertical soaps, anything. And even if you're a union and you're thinking, well, a lot of those are non-union, there are still union opportunities. We do the Brooke and Matt show under a union contract. And if you feel equipped to do so, like Brooke and myself, produce your own stories. As I explained, it is a great way to get those reps in. And here's a secret. It doesn't even have to be good. If it turns out horrible, you don't even have to post it. Remember, this is not about the result. This is about the process, the reps. So take a moment to turn inward and think about how you might close that gap between you and that number one on the call sheet when it comes to repetitions. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on set.